Section 3 of Nature in Your Home and Other Papers by John Burroughs. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. To learn more or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Edith Fern. Nature in Your Home and Other Papers by John Burroughs. Section 3. The Barn Swallow. How winsome is the swallow, how tender and pleasing all her notes. Is it boyhood that she brings back to us old men who were farm boys in our youth? We saw the swallows play out, and in the wide open barn doors in haying time, their steel blue backs and ruddy throats glancing in the sun, and their gentle, unctuous wing gossip falling on our ears. Their coarse nests, mud without, but feathers within, were plastered on the rafters in the peak, and when the young were out we saw them perched in a row on the ridge-board, resting from their first flights. Now, as I sit within my barn door outlook, the same swallows are playing before me, untouched by the many long years that have passed, giving the impression of perpetual youth. The same tender, confiding calls, the same darting, wayward flight, the same swift coursings above the shorn meadows, darlings of the ripe summer air, aerial feeders, reaping an invisible bounty above us, touching the earth in quest of a straw or a feather, or for clay for the nest, tireless of wing and impotent of foot as of old. The swallow has two words, one for her friends and one for her foes. Wit, 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 uttered so confidingly for the friends, and sleet, 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 uttered sharply for the foes. Instead of the ridge-board of my youth, the swallow now has a new perch, the telephone and telegraph wires strung along the highway. Shall we look upon the swallow as a songster? Virgil refers to him as such, and when he perches upon the telephone wire in front of my barn door, and fills and refills his mouth with a succession of those squeaking, smacking, unctuous notes, his throat swelling and throbbing, his beak opening and shutting, glancing now to the right, now to the left, as if to see if his mate is near, he looks, and we may say is, the songster that Virgil called him. The performance lacks resonance and the fluty quality of our regular songbirds. It seems to be made in the cheeks or by the softer parts of the mouth. The beak is too small and feeble to play much of a part in its production. What a waxy, adhesive sort of sound it is! I wonder if the swallow has the organ called the syrinx common to the regular songbirds. If one may compare sound with substance, I should say that the swallow strain seems viscous and turbid rather than liquid and translucent, like that of the acknowledged songbirds. It is less a musical performance for its own sake than a note of self-congratulation or of salutation to its fellows. The bird does not lift up his head and pour out his strain as if for the joy of singing. He delivers it as a speaker delivers his discourse, looking about him and laying the emphasis here and there in a confident and reassuring tone. The cliff swallows and the purple martins and bank swallows are much more social and gregarious than the barn swallows. I do not remember ever to have seen more than one nest of the latter at a time in the peak of the barn, although I am told that in New England they nest in colonies. I do not know that they migrate in large flocks like the other swallows. I only know that their season with uns ends about the 20th of August, and that they pass the winter in South America, where I hope they have as happy a time as they do here. If anything preys upon them while they are here, I do not know what it is. They could laugh at the swiftest hawk. They share the distrust of all birds toward the cat, though I have never known puss to catch one. They will swoop down spitefully if she lingers about their haunts, and I have seen her try to strike them with her paw, but have never known her to succeed. My swallows have a pretty habit, when the day is chilly and cloudy or stormy, of collecting their brood on the little edges or shelves above the windows on the south gable of the house, and feeding them there. The young sit there in a huddled row, apparently looking off in the fields of air, where their parents are coursing for insects, and when they see them returning, they break out in a happy and grateful chatter. The old weather-worn gable is for the moment the scene of a very pleasing and animated incident in swallow life. End of Section 3. Recording by Edith Fern, Southern California, 16th of December, 2008.